Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Farside TV. My co-host Jeremy Scipio, he had to hit a stage tonight on his way to a Hollywood Bowl situation in the very near future. He's doing his comedy thing. We miss him, but he'll be back next week. But I got something almost as dope. I got Hunnibuzz. So Giulia is one part of Hunnibuzz, and I had the pleasure of working with her for a while. She kind of came in and helped us out with different projects I had going on. I was somewhere else and I saw her doing some work with somebody, and I didn't want to steal her, but I kind of stole her with permission, and it and it worked out. It worked out the best it could work out. So yeah, so that's what it is. And then we also have the other part of Hunnibuzz, which is
Kiara here.
Nice. So since there's two of you, we're gonna kind of like, well, the first question, I want both of your answers, and I'll start with you, Giulia, first. Where were you the first time you heard hip hop, and what was the song?
Okay, so like my most earliest memory, even though I've probably heard songs when I was like a baby or whatever, but my earliest memory is probably In the Club by 50 Cent. I was in the car, and like I had no family in the US, so, and my parents didn't play hip hop like that. So like when I was young, I was only really exposed to like, I don't know, like NSYNC and all that. And then when I heard In the Club, I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is amazing. And from 50 Cent, that started my whole hip hop R&B craze.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So hip hop. Okay, all right, I get it.
When I heard In the Club, I was like, oh my God,
I get it.
what is
Shame,
this? This is
shame on
amazing.
me. Shame on me. Yeah, we working to see. Jeremy, my co-host, he usually works the chat and works all that kind of stuff. And I usually cheat with a pad. So we're on the phone today. So we're gonna work it out. We getting there. And so when was the first time you heard hip hop, and what was the song?
I feel like I grew up on hip hop. Like I had like cousins and stuff. So like from a young age, I just was listening to 3 6 Mafia, David Banner, 50 Cent, like Chameleonaire. Like I just grew up on it. I can't really remember the age.
Okay.
What specific song, but honestly, since I was born, like my parents, they were young too. So you know,
it was around.
It was around, like, yeah.
Giulia came in kind of slow, but then your business partner, he just kind of came in. Yeah, David Banner, 3 6 Mafia. You know what I'm saying? We was doing that. That's right. So, to you, Giulia, from being brought into hip hop culture slowly, did you ever think it would be as large as it is?
No, I guess not. Like in a way, it's kind of seemed like infinite.
Okay.
Because ever since I started, like I discovered it, that's all I listen to mostly. But yeah, now it's like even back then, like huge. There's so many opportunities, so many different kinds of hip hop trends changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it Kiara?
Yeah, Kiara.
Okay, Kiara. And did you think it was going to be as large as it is?
I think again, like since I kind of grew up with it, I thought it was large from a young age. So I think just seeing it grow to what it is now has been like, I don't know, it's kind of always been with me. So, but just seeing like how the way it is now and how it was before, it's pretty cool.
I say this at least once a month, but you guys are younger, so I'm going to tell you. When I saw that hip hop was, I came up Run DMC and all that, and the evolution and MTV and all that, so that was like a part. But I'm gonna say this because you guys are younger and you guys need to know, like, when I really saw corporate money come into hip hop, and not in a not like in a gentrification, but it could have been the dopest form of gentrification ever, that it was just so dope that I didn't get it like that. But Busta Rhymes, man. Busta Rhymes, he got some Sprite commercials, and that was when I saw, well, that was when they let it be known that corporate interest was like partnering with like hip hop, and they allowed him to he directed like a couple of commercials that were like really dope commercials with Sprite and whatnot. Like they were, it was just like really big. So that was like the first time that we saw, you know, a lot of money come in, you know, kind of like into the hip hop marriage and whatnot. And then after that, after 9/11, the beverage companies, Vitamin Water, before Vitamin Water was acquired by Coke, and I'll just say this because you guys are into branding and all that kind of stuff. You might find it interesting, you might feel it's whatever, but I'm gonna say it. But yeah, Vitamin Water, before they were acquired by Coke, they were dumping a lot of money into hip hop, man. They were really dumping a lot of money. And then Scion, you know, it was a trip because after 9/11, you know, shows dried up, all advertising had really dried up and whatnot. And Scion kind of came and they hooked up with the owner of Herb Magazine, and they allowed him to kind of feel the pulse of where their marketing dollars went to like urban people or whatnot. And so that was like where in like, so me booking shows, doing shows with the Pharcyde, all that kind of thing. Like after 9/11, shows had dried up, like everything was just kind of like, imagine how stuff was like right when things kind of started to open up for COVID, just like a little bit when people were kind of doing something. But the economic, 9/11 just really crushed the country economically. So people weren't throwing shows. The promoters didn't have, like, everybody was scared. Nobody wanted to let loose money. But when companies like Scion came out and they're promoting all this new stuff, people would just contact me and they would just say, well, how much money do you guys want to play? Like it wasn't a barter. It wasn't like an offer. It wasn't anything or whatever. It was just kind of like, whoever was kind of like the tastemaker in different cities were kind of like the gatekeepers of like the Scions, the Vitamin Waters, and there was another, Red Bull. Yep, Red Bull. And so it was crazy because where I was accustomed to dealing with promoters, haggling a little bit, going back and forth, this, that, and the third, like with these marketing dollars, it was just kind of like, well, how much do you want? You know, what do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And then we get to these shows, and the shows are the first shows were like for tastemakers. So they spend all this money and just have like whoever was the coolest of cool in the city, you know, kind of come out and get exposed to this. So anyway, that was my little spiel on marketing, branding, things that I saw happen. So Kiara, what city did you grow up in?
I grew up in Compton.
All right.
So I grew up in Compton, bordering Long Beach too. So I went between Compton, Long Beach, and then my parents moved us to Victorville. Yeah, so I was there. I think we moved when I was like 9 or so, but most of my family's still in Compton and Long Beach. So I came back to Long Beach and I would come visit all the time. So yeah.
Okay, that's tight. That's tight. So you, Giulia, we're gonna ask you, what was the soundtrack to your junior high school experience?
That's a good one. Probably, okay, well, not that the lyrics relate to my life, but the song that I was obsessed with, like the music video, PIMP by 50 Cent featuring Snoop Dogg, the remix. I was like absolutely obsessed. So I would probably say that.
All right, so you was pimping at a young age, you know. So I'll take it.
Has to be the remix with Snoop Dogg, that music video.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I want to say 50 was wearing all white, and he had just he had done a couple things in the religious world. He had kind of just switched his whole game up. But yeah, no, that was a good time. And you, Kiara, what was the soundtrack to your junior high school experience?
The junior high school. Dang, I'm trying to think back to what was that time. 2008. I want to say Chameleonaire. So what song was, I think it was called Ride With Me or something like that.
Yeah.
Dirty.
Riding Dirty.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that whole album. Like, I think I listened to it the whole junior high school.
Yeah. I'll tell you the interesting thing about Chameleonaire. He's like, they don't mention his name in a lot of conversations, but he's done well. Like, he's the rapper that they won't talk about because he's done very well with investments and whatnot. And he was really smart with his money, and he did some really interesting things. And another person who's done well for themselves, and they won't mention him, MC Hammer. MC Hammer's been involved in tech for like ever, you know, like literally he's been on, but he comes from the Bay Area, which, you know, tech is one of those conversations. Tech back in, let's say tech 15 and 20 years ago was similar to the NFT conversation now. It's kind of like everybody was talking about it. Some people were making money off of it. Some people understood what it was. Some people didn't understand what it was, but it was just, you know, just a thing. So, Kiara, when you graduated from high school, what did you think your path was going to be?
So during high school, like, I didn't think about college or anything. Like, I didn't think about that until like junior year. And my friends, they was like, oh yeah, we're going to college. So I was like, damn, like, I guess I am too. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm getting the good grades. Like, I can go to college. But yeah, I didn't think about that until like junior year. I thought I wanted to be a chef. So I was thinking about being a chef, going to culinary school, or just going to like a trade school and becoming like a nurse, just something that's like safe and steady. Like, I know what I'll get out of it, you know, once I was done. Yeah. Oh, wait, can you hear anything?
Oh, are you muted?
My bad.
Oh,
I got I have neighbors that have more dogs than I do. So I kind of mute it out when they're going crazy in the background. I'm just like, oh man. And trust me, I want to get upset, but I'm like, well, when I got dogs in heat and they going through it, it's just, you know, it's just a fact of life. You know what I'm saying? Some birds and bees. So Giulia, when you were in high school, what did you think your path was going to be when you graduated?
I had no idea. I don't know, like in high school, I was kind of like, and I don't know, like I was confused about what I wanted to do. I never thought about career paths like that. I was just like living in the moment too much and not thinking about after high school. And
real quick, before we continue, what is living in the moment too much?
like hanging out with friends and like when I was done with homework, I didn't think about it. Like, as soon as I left school, I did not think about school. I was just like, I don't know, hanging out and watching TV.
That was me. That was normal. That was kind of me.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about like after high school, like colleges, and because I was never really into school, so I didn't, and my grades weren't the best, so I didn't think that like, I didn't have college on my radar, but my dad, he went to college and he was like really pressuring that on me. And I eventually, when I did graduate, I went to LBCC, but I didn't know what I wanted to do still. And like, it was to the point where like, you don't know what you want to do, so you just choose business. It was like that. But eventually, you know, I figured it out. LBCC.
Yeah, she didn't know what she wanted to do until she got a cool boss named Greg Campbell, and he exposed her to some stuff. No, I'm just kidding. She was exposed far before me to some cool stuff. So to you, Kiara, I'm gonna ask you, and we're gonna get into Hunnibuzz. Don't even trip. But I have to build you guys up as people, because I feel like people are gonna want to know about your business. But I think it's also important to know the people who are involved in, who the people are who you're going to be doing business with. So that's, we're going to figure out some hip hop stuff and whatnot. But there was an album that was dropped about a month and a couple weeks ago or so, but it might even been 2 months ago. It took the world and flipped it upside down. Came from nowhere. The Kendrick Lamar album. Kiara, have you heard the album?
Of course.
All right.
Many times.
All right. There's something interesting about the Kendrick album. Before he dropped that album, I would have a conversation with guests, and the conversation would kind of border around, I would ask the question, why aren't there contemporary artists that are younger right now? Like, is this the only generation of contemporary artists that don't touch upon social climate at all? Because it just seems like, if it's not drugs, partying, wasting, I don't want to say wasting money, but, spending money, luxury things or whatever, it just kind of seems like that is just where we are. So Kendrick Lamar comes out of nowhere, and he has this record, and it starts with this video. And first of all, you can't lose with Marvin Gaye. I don't care who it is. You're not gonna lose with Marvin Gaye.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to the Marvin Gaye sample in the background and whatnot, and then I'm watching Kendrick rap, and then I'm like, damn, did I pray for this or something? It's like he touched on like so many current social issues within this one song. And I feel like the reason he didn't suffer backlash from it, he just morphed his face into the different scenarios, but he never stood behind one particular cause, one particular situation, mentioned one particular person's name. The closest he came was, I guess, when he chunked up Neighborhood and he said something about Sam, like at the end of the video or whatever. But other than that, like, he never, you could look at his face and you could kind of see that he was, I guess, speaking through whoever's face he was morphing into. But I felt that for all the grief I gave the contemporary artists and the younger artists for not addressing social issues, I felt like, man, he did a great job at it. Giulia, when you saw the video, what was your reaction to it?
I thought it was really creative. I haven't seen anything like that before. And especially as I was watching it, it took me a second to even realize the faces were morphing. And then at one point I was like, wait, what? Because they did it so well. I don't know. I thought it was a really creative take on a modern music video.
Okay.
And it was really artistic and expressive. And I would definitely like to see more of that in the future.
Cool. And you, Kiara, what was your?
Honestly, when I seen it, yeah, to what Giulia said, like, it took me some time to like realize, because at first I think I seen like a meme and I was like, oh, okay, let me check out this video. And just to see like the actual video and see like the faces morphing, I was like, damn, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I think the video was just, I might be biased, but I thought it was just perfection. Like everything about it, the song, everything, the emotion that he had when speaking from whatever person that he was, speaking from. I feel like nobody can do it better than what he just did. nobody else should even try to do the little face morphing thing. Kendrick did it. It's said and done.
Well, I will say this. He did catch a little grief because somebody did it before him. But I will say that I have not seen anyone do it the way that it was done with him. Because, you know, I didn't get the OJ Simpson part, but when it went to Jussie Smollett, I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, and then when I went back, I saw OJ Simpson, but because you really don't understand what's going on. You're like listening to the song, listening to the beat. Okay, so we covered all of that stuff. So now we're gonna let Kiara go first, and then we're gonna bring Giulia in. I don't know much about anything. What is branding?
It's funny that you want me to go first on this part, but branding to me is really just like, it's when you create a business, like you're creating another version of yourself, or like another entity. And it's kind of like if you ever played Sims, like you can create whatever it is that you want to create. You can create the name, you can create the colors, the services that you want to provide.
An IG profile.
Exactly. Kind of like when MySpace first came about and you were able to create your page and brand it essentially to how you want people to recognize you. So I think it's just a way, to put it simply, is kind of just showing yourself. Yeah. That's cool. That's something similar to what I would have said. So now we're gonna let Giulia get into the branding expert.
Yeah, we're gonna let Giulia get into the meat of it. So what is branding, Giulia?
Okay, so how do I start this? Okay, the simplest way I put it is like, if your business was a person, what would they look like? What would they wear? Where would they hang out? What music are they into? What's their personality? Are they friendly? Are they serious? Yeah, so just figuring out, like making your business or your personal image into the epitome of what you want the world to see you as. And there's so many aspects to it. There's the whole visual part, there's the whole personality and identity. So like your slogan, what words do you use? How do you respond to your customers? How do you want your clients or customers to feel when they have your product on, or if they enter your store, or if they work with you, like with web design like us? And yeah, there's so many aspects to it. Like people react to colors, people react to fonts, people react to design assets, like what patterns and everything. Yeah, so it's basically like a long story that you're telling your audience. And I feel like it's also mixed with public relations. So it's like your image, how the first thing when someone says Hunnibuzz, for example, what is the first thing that pops into their head? So it's like your reputation. And like another easy way to explain it is there's so many clothing stores out there, right? But what makes your business different from the next clothing store? It's your brand. Like Nike, for example, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, they all sell clothing, but what separates them is the branding.
Okay. So with the marriage of you and Kiara and Hunnibuzz, what are your roles?
So, oh, did you want to go ahead, Kiara?
Yeah, we'll let Kiara go first, and then we'll come back to you.
So my main role will be, I'm the person behind the camera, so I'm doing the photography, and I'm one of the main web designers. So I'll be building out your website and doing more of like the back end technical stuff. Okay. And I learned a lot about branding from Giulia. I learned a lot about PR. But my main position is within like the behind the scene back end development.
Tech.
The tech part. Yeah.
Okay. All right. One sounds like a beautiful marriage right there. You know what I'm saying? And you know, because it's interesting because you know, I've had a business partner since maybe 2000, you know, and it's crazy because he does his thing and I do my thing. And it's like they're different, but together they're like Jordan-esque. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's, you know, that's it. So nah, that's dope. So what is Hunnibuzz?
So we are a digital media agency located in Long Beach, California. We provide the services of web design, marketing, which could be social media or physical materials, photography, and branding and printing. Kiara and I are the owners, and yeah, we're here to serve the community. A lot of our clients are entrepreneurs, just like the average people that want to start a business, as well as small businesses. And yeah, we want to be that familiar face in tech that doesn't look like you're interacting with a robot when you go on their website. There's a person behind the brand. We're representation. We're just trying to completely rebrand the space, taking it away from the cookie cutter, average, everyday, boring website, but making it like, hey, like there's people behind the screen. It's an experience working with us. You're a part of a community when you work with us, and bringing more to the traditional tech space.
All right. I can eat a slice of that. So we're gonna go into some current event kind of stuff. Since it's not the most current of events, but some current stuff. So we'll start with you, Kiara. And the only reason I asked this is because my co-host is a comedian, and so it's like he where a lot of things aren't relevant to me because he's a comedian, and not that I'm the biggest comedy fan, but I'm more aware because he's my co-host and whatnot. But DL versus Monique, have you followed that at all?
Honestly, I have not, but
Good for you.
Does it have anything to do with Monique winning her lawsuit?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good for you. We're gonna flip the switch and we're gonna go to Giulia. Giulia looks like she might be a little more versed in it.
I'm in the same boat as Kiara.
What?
we was like, who's DL?
Oh man, that's why you guys are successful, man. Y'all not sipping the tea. You know what I'm saying? I go hard, but I'll stop and sip a little tea every now and again. So anyway, I guess the two of them had a show together, and the promoter basically booked both of them as the headliner. But it was kind of like he did it like they both had separate agreements. So it wasn't like one agreement where everyone fell underneath it. So Monique was thinking she was the headliner, but I believe that DL was the headliner. DL said he wasn't going to go on before her. And so she finally broke down and was like, okay, I'll go on. And the conversation went something along the berating of he wasn't about nothing. And his wife gives sexual favors to a coward, and, you know, and just on. And, you know, she went on. And then DL came, and he had, you know, he basically said, you know, it's not her fault, it's my fault. She's, you know, burned every bridge and done everything crazy with every relationship she has. And I've avoided doing shows with her forever. And I finally buckled down and said, I'll do it. And it's not on her, it's on me. So anyway, okay, that was that. So we will move on to the next question.
At least I'm updated now.
No, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing about it, you guys can go and do your own research because I've kind of paraphrased like the whole scenario. But yeah, kind of, for something trivial, I guess it's cool. So for you, Kiara, who's your favorite rapping athlete?
My favorite rapping athlete?
Yeah.
My favorite rapper?
That is an athlete.
I know, I'm like thinking like
It's an athlete.
I don't have one either. That's a Jeremy question. Jeremy's intent was to be here with us.
Okay. Because I'm like, dang, who's an athlete?
Yeah, I can't
Googling
it. Drake?
Yeah. Oh, I got one.
Ooh.
J. Cole.
Yeah.
He can ball, and he's very nice with that mic. Very nice. And I had a conversation with someone. I didn't say he was better than Kendrick, but I said as good as Kendrick, and then they went into their thing. But then at the end of the day, they're different. They're both very good, but they're totally different. So you, Giulia, has faith played a major role in your decision making?
I would say so. I feel like I get that energy a lot from Kiara, and it's rubbed off on me. And as a small business owner, and like for how much time you have to invest and like your own personal funds, especially when money's not getting handed to you like that, like all you have to do is keep faith, because it can get so stressful. And like, I don't know, at times you just feel like, is this gonna go up from here, or is it gonna stay at this steady, not at the level that you need it in order to go to the next stage of it? And yeah, honestly, like I feel like really successful businesses are also a pinch of luck too. Like just meeting the right people and being at the right place at the right time. So like, yeah, just gotta have faith.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give you guys a cheat code. When my business partner and myself would kind of go through some very financially, legally, just every challenge we could face in the world, we found comfort in Taco Nazo.
Oh my gosh,
so
yes.
A lot of great meals were had. But see, the cheat code that I can't give to you, we knew the owner. And so, and at that time, it's not the Taco Nazo that you know today. So it was just a little teeny, not teeny, but it was the smaller part of Taco Nazo or whatever. So shoot, man, we go up there anytime, man. It was fish tacos and shrimp tacos flying to the left, flying to the right. And we could just kind of come and get our mind together and just reflect on stuff, and then take the drive back to the office. And then it just seemed like, everything got a little better. So
yeah, I feel like that's like me and Kiara too. Like we'll go get something to eat.
Yeah, no, you got to just remove yourself from the work environment, and then just let different things be your muse. Have conversation, just the one-on-one time, because it's different having one-on-one time with the business partner in your work environment versus having one-on-one time away from the work environment, but about the work environment, and then able to come back and kind of do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you, Kiara, who's your major musical influence?
Kendrick. Hands down.
Hey man, I feel you. It took me forever to get Kendrick. Like when he first came out, I'll say years. Okay, Kendrick didn't get me until Pimp a Butterfly, because to me, that was like an album for older people. It was like a spoken word jazz type of an album. And then it got my attention. And then I went back to his older stuff. And then now I can appreciate the newer. He does this vocal effect that I just the effect on his vocals, I just couldn't catch it. I couldn't catch it. But his vocal effect compared to all these other rappers and what they doing out there and what they whatever, I'll take that vocal effect, you know what I'm saying? and I'll run with that. So for you, so Giulia, I happen to know that you are a huge fan of a LBC native rapper. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised you're not working for him. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you tried. I'm sure you tried. I'm sure you tried to make your way to him, to tell him all the stuff that you could do for him that everybody else can't do. You could blow him up to the next level. So how did you develop this interest in the Snoop Doggy Dogg?
Dang. I've been a fan of him since I was 12 years old. And I don't know, everything about him to me is so cool. Like his personality, how he carries himself, his music, his style, the fact that he's from Long Beach, like the history in Long Beach when it comes to him, like how much of a super entrepreneur he is, like commercials to he just opened up that store in Inglewood. Like he just does like everything.
Have you been there yet?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like, everything about him to me is just like so cool. I feel like that's like the best way to explain it. And yeah, he is my dream person to work with. And when I did that clothing brand thing for a little bit, it was inspired by him. And I met him and I told him that like the Auntie Juju was inspired by him because he gets called Uncle Snoop. And I brought him a blue shirt on purpose and he signed it and said, oh, how cool, blah, blah, blah. He's super cool. And like he acts super cool behind the scenes because I hung out with them for like 4 hours for this intern thing I was doing for the day.
Okay.
For this charity event they were hosting. And I got to like be around his crew and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like from there, how he was interacting with his fans and he had gotten hurt on the field, but he still was like, no, like I need to sign these autographs. Like they came here, they brought that. Like, so he's like limping, signing autographs for fans. But yeah, like I don't know. I just think he's super cool.
I'll tell you something else that you can pull from him. So he is a great example of branding and reinventing yourself. Like he's truly timeless. Like truly timeless. It's amazing. It's like, you know, he was the super gangster thugged out, just, you know, all that. And then he got into a couple issues. And then he kind of went from this to that, and then he was into the reggae thing. And it was like when he started doing stuff with Martha Stewart, mm-hmm. and then it's like they developed this bromance that even I like to watch it because it's like, okay, you're watching Snoop Doggy Dogg with America's millionaire who went to prison for I forget what she went to prison for or whatever, but you know, she's not too square, you know what I'm saying? And then to see the two of them interact, and then when they interact like friends, like even if it's a commercial, like whatever it is, like the banter and how they go back and forth. And I thought that was really dope. And I was like, dang, it's amazing. But I think that it would take a Snoop Doggy Dogg for people to give like even though he's had his gangster rap, his gangster rap and all that kind of stuff, it's like his star power is just so large that it's like you put him together with a Martha Stewart. And I want to say, like, even with the campaign that he's doing with Corona right now, I'm like, it's dope because he's making Corona cool. Like in Corona, like, man, I'll drink it. Well, I don't drink too much now anyway, but when I was, you know, having beers here and there, Corona never had the dopest taste or anything. It was just like, you know, something with a lime, you know, cool or whatever. And to watch his commercials, like, damn, he brought the cool to Corona. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's how I want Hunnibuzz to be. Like a super, like his personality is so unique in the way that he's like a chameleon and he can just like transform himself into any kind of situation and bring the best out of it. Mm-hmm. And he's like the best branding, some of the best branding I know. And yeah,
Oh.
and I want Hunnibuzz to be like that. Well, it will be like that. And our goal is to put Long Beach on the map next to Snoop Dogg. So when people think of Long Beach, they'll think of Snoop Dogg, Vince Staples, and other rappers, but Hunnibuzz on there.
Oh no, I'm sure you guys are hooking up. So Kiara, what's your favorite documentary?
My favorite, so I'm into like those like crime documentaries. But so one that I can think of right now would be like that Helter Skelter one with Charles Manson.
Okay.
But I really did like Kanye's documentary that came out this year. I thought it was pretty cool, well put together.
I have a love-hate relationship with Mr. West. Like I promise. I don't know. I just do. I've tried not to, and then I listen to the music and I listen to his older stuff. I'm like, oh, he's dope. But then you see the personality and all that, and you're just like, and I'm torn. But yeah. I'll tell you something crazy. So the Pharcyde had this house that they recorded Lab Cabin at, that was called the Lab Cabin. And it was on this street up in I don't know, you probably could call it Silver Lake. You probably could call it Silver Lake. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. Like I was up there one day and there was like all these people walking. It was a street where it was nowhere near a main street or anything like that. Like if you were up there, you were up in that neighborhood to see somebody. Like it was, you weren't just out and about. So anyway, there's all these people and they're like walking and moving in the direction of this house that was like slightly up the street a little bit. Like I'll say the house was probably about 200, 300 feet. Like it wasn't next door, but it was like up and across the street. But that was the house where all that Sharon Tate stuff went down. And it was on the anniversary. And then like that's why the people were out there. So anyway, that's just a little interesting, little in and out. So with you, Giulia, what's your favorite documentary?
I feel like I'm really bad when it comes to documentaries.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I did actually really like the Kanye one. I only watched the first 2 parts of it, but
me too.
I kind of liked how they documented his story.
You know what? They made him a human. That's something that I kind of try to do with this podcast. Like I try to interview people and like, we're going to get to like, and I think that we've gotten to what Hunnibuzz is and who you guys are. But I think that other part is very interesting and it needs to be also appreciated. The part before you get, where you're going. Like in the Kanye thing, there was one part that I saw, and my first interaction with Kanye in person was like a very arrogant. It was like an argument, and he said I lied about something, whatever. We went back and forth. I didn't lie. I showed him that I didn't. Whatever. We went back and forth, but he got mad and he said, like, he was like, when I would be with No Limit and when I would do stuff with Fat Joe, I would record my verses, because he was trying to say that his homeboy was on a Pharcyde song, and the version that his homeboy was on wasn't the album version, but we put it on a single, and that's what we were given to like on wax. That's what we're given to like the record stations and all this, that, and the third. And his homeboy was like, yo, here's the Pharcyde record, and I produced it and I rapped on it too, but it's it's not on the album, but it's on the it's on the promo copy, it wasn't a promo, it's on the single. So he started going off and started talking about all this and started saying they would act like they were recording me and they wouldn't record me and blah 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 blah. So I was just kind of like, weirdo, whatever, moved on. And I'm like, damn, I don't even know him, and he got my blood he got my blood boiling. I'm like, but this is like Kanye in 2004. This isn't like you know, this wasn't even millionaire Kanye.
Yeah.
He probably has some money, but I don't think he was like a millionaire. So anyway, when I was watching his documentary, and I only watched 2 parts, but one of the parts that I watched, Scarface had walked into the studio with him. And I guess because of Kanye's accident, he had a retainer. And so Scarface walked in and he listened to the music a little bit and he looked down and saw the retainer. He's like, man, what's that? And then Kanye told him, and then it just shows Scarface just kind of, he just walked out the studio, like almost like weirdo, you know what I'm saying? And walked out the studio. And then it was a trip because me watching that, I kind of understood, like, man, part of Kanye's whole thing is that he was kind of dissed along the way. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I hate to go cliche and, you know, speak on the whole Kendrick thing, but it's like hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, okay, since Kanye had got dissed and had got treated crazy, he's just kind of like the girl who no one paid attention to in high school, but now she's a supermodel, so she's gonna be like, you know, you know, whatever. So the next part, if there was to be a Hunnibuzz biopic, who would play you, or who would you want to play you, Kiara?
I would say, I don't know. The only person that's coming to mind right now is probably like, actually Brandy. Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
And who would play Auntie Giulia?
If it's not Snoop Dogg, it would be in a dream world. I don't know. The only actress I can think of that I love is Zendaya.
Okay. Nah, that's dope. So, you, Kiara, a motivational person in your life.
I would say, so my day job is at like the UPS store. So I manage some UPS stores, and the owner there, he's really like my mentor, and really always gives like the best advice. Like even when you're not even asking for any type of advice, like, and he tells them in a way where it's like he's telling his story, and then, but it's really advice for you, you know? And sometimes I'm like, man, can you just get to the point? Like his advice, it'll
never get to the point.
You know? So yeah, his name is Sparrow. He owns the few UPS stores here in Long Beach, grew up in Long Beach. Yeah, I would say he motivates me often.
Yeah, I might not motivate people, but they do hear stories. If they are within, Giulia has heard her fair share. Yeah, if you're within earshot, you're gonna hear a whole bunch of stuff. So you, Giulia, a motivational person in your life.
Probably my dad. He worked really hard to come to the US. Eventually, he grew up in Venezuela, went from Venezuela to Montreal for college. He didn't know English, and Montreal speaks English and French. Learned English, eventually met my mom in Montreal, hustled his way through, and he got recruited to come to the US for work because he's a computer engineer. And yeah, he just is a great dad, works hard, and is like my therapist and business advisor. I always ask him business questions. And yeah, I guess he's one of my main motivators for keeping.
And no honorable mention to that $1 million dog.
I know. I just let him out of my room.
Hey, so Kiara, Giulia, this dog Giulia has some challenges.
Scooby.
long as a pup. Probably still does have challenges, but as a pup has some challenges. I breed dogs. I'm a dog lover, but I felt like she went a little too far with this hound. So I think that, it's cool that she gives her pops the props, but I think this dog needs to be the Hunnibuzz mascot, man, because she has invested a lot into this animal's existence, and it needs to be recognized.
That's funny. Yeah,
for real.
Animal hospital bills are crazy, but like I had no choice. Hey, I had a choice, but I wasn't gonna take that choice.
You better than me, man. And you know what? That puts some compassion on my heart. You know what I'm saying? Me watching that whole little situation, because I don't have a heart like Hitler or nothing like that. But when it comes to extensive pet bills and debt and all that kind of stuff, it's, that's a yeah. But I'll say this: what's your dog's name again?
Scooby.
All right. Yeah, you need to give Scooby a little more love, man. Scooby is definitely the mascot. Kiara, your most legendary moment.
Right now, I would say, let's see. And most legendary? I would say like just when we launched our magazine, and actually even before that, when we were in the Long Beach Business Journal.
Okay.
I think that was just like really cool, because I didn't really know anything about PR. So like Giulia was like, yeah, she gonna do the PR thing. And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, I reached out to these publicists and let's see how it goes. And she's like, yeah, we got an interview. So I'm like, okay, interview, cool. I didn't know that it was going to be in the Long Beach Business Journal, just circulating around. And like, really, like, if it wasn't for that, I feel like we wouldn't be like exactly where we are today. And honestly, like, that was just the feeling that I had when we had launched, and like here in like the that newspaper coming out. I was like, wow, like it was super fulfilling.
All right. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that. I felt a certain way about it, a good way though. I felt a certain way. I was like, okay, they it's something. It is something more than a concept. You know what I'm saying? It's more than a concept. And you, Giulia, your most legendary moment? Snoop Dogg?
Yeah. I feel like I have a couple.
Okay.
Definitely the one that Kiara said, because I was a PR student. So to put what I was taught in class into actual like initiative that has to do with my livelihood and Kiara's, and to have that be like work out and be successful. I was like, oh, okay, like people be paying big money to get an article like that. And it wasn't even just online, it was printed, like a huge one-page spread. So and the picture we had was beautiful, and it's just something that I'll forever keep framed around me.
That's dope.
Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, that's one of them for sure. And then I guess when I was doing my shirts, and it kind of went mini viral in Long Beach, and people would always, I got so much support, and people would always like send me photos of people passing by them wearing the shirt, and friendships gained from that and connections. And yeah, that was my other one.
Nah, dope. So Kiara, who would you like to work with?
Like in tech or just in general? Just
general.
In general. I would love to, like, when I think about things, like Giulia knows, like I shoot for the stars. Like I'm thinking big. So like I would love to work with like big brands such as like Apple, Microsoft, and like even I don't know, collaborate with Tesla or something, like, you know, like, yeah, I'm thinking big.
Nah, hey,
But for
you better.
sure, yeah, like for sure, big tech. Yeah.
You know that, and you know, it's interesting. You know, you have to think that way. After Nipsey passed, I just did different research. I felt like he was a rapper that kind of not necessarily passed me by, no pun intended, but my goddaughters are related to their uncle is a rapper that was really close to Nip, like really close. And you know, I kind of felt like I looked at Nipsey Hussle instead of kind of seeing him for his greatness, and not that I looked at him for not being great, but I looked at him as my goddaughter's uncle's homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they both came from the same area. They're both, you know, independent hustling musicians and whatever. But when I did some research on kind of like Nip's evolution, it was amazing to me how he scooped up that African cat, man. The one that he wrote the program for Uber, and he, you know, his name does not come to my mind right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, all it takes, and this is for you, Kiara, and you, Giulia, all it takes is for someone that has the resource to come to you and like allow you to do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's really, you know, that's really all it takes. Not saying, I think that Nip helped Homeboy as much as Homeboy helped Nip, because like, I want to say the Marathon clothing store was like the first store that had like integrated virtual experience and all this kind of stuff. And then you're thinking, and that was the part that kind of blew me away, because I'm thinking, okay, Nipsey Hussle has the little store that's over there next to the hamburger spot that, man, I used to kill those burgers, but it was just, hey, it was just hella gangster, man. You was in and out, you know what I'm saying? You was over there ordering, you were not ordering your burger to eat it in the parking lot or whatever. It was kind of like, okay, we're gonna get this and we're gonna bounce. Mm-hmm. And it's like a kid, you know, from that area, you know, he hooks up with this, and I'll call the African cat a tech god, like definitely a tech god. Like he hooks up with this guy, and then the marriage between the two of those guys. Well, I won't even say Nip. I'm leaving out the whole Marathon team, because, you know, Sam being a part of it and all that too. I'm sure it was more than that because it took a team, but they did incredible things. So Giulia, who would you like to inspire?
Who I'd like to inspire?
Yep.
I would like to inspire college students, people in the community, anyone that wants to, how to explain it? Like when I was in college, like being junior and a senior in college, I felt like I didn't have as many opportunities to really express my creative expression. And that's why I just came up with things to just have the full brand and creative control over, just to like test it out and have fun. And yeah, I want Hunnibuzz to be an inspiration to just start your own thing. I think it's so important for people to be entrepreneurs, and I'd rather support small businesses than chains. And just being able to have that economic flow, especially with entrepreneurs and small businesses. So yeah, I would like to inspire like college students, anyone really, they don't even have to be in college. And yeah, people in Long Beach, whoever follows us. Yep, here to just be an example.
Nah, that's tight. That's tight. So we're gonna flip it over. This one's gonna be for you too, Giulia, but we're gonna go to Kiara first, and we're gonna come back to you. Greatest female rapper of all time.
I would say, of all, I'm gonna just say for me, I would, because this is debatable. I'm gonna say, I guess Nikki.
Okay.
I guess.
All right.
But I mean, do we count Lauryn Hill?
Lauren did a little, Lauren was dope. She was dope. I'll say we will come back to you real quick. We're not leaving this alone by any site. You, Giulia, who's the greatest female rapper of all time?
I wish I was more actively listening to female rap, but I would have to say I love Megan Thee Stallion. I know that's she's a little extra, but and if Lauryn Hill counted, I'd add that in there. I don't
Yeah, Giulia's a party animal. She just, she keeps it when hair is slicked down and tucked down. She doesn't look like the party animal, but she's over there to turn up music. I'm like, huh? What? Y'all gotta give it up for the queen, man. Queen Latifah, man.
Okay, yeah.
I know that's before your time. But the queen. Gotta hail the queen.
Missy Elliott. Is she?
Yeah. Do Missy Elliott count?
Yep. I'll give it to Missy because she rapped and she produced.
Okay.
Lil Kim. Oh yeah, Lil Kim. I like.
Yep. Little
Hey,
Kim.
but what about Doja Cat?
I'm old. I'm 51 years old, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm 51 years old.
I'm not saying the greatest of all time, but
right now she's popping.
I will say right now she's really popping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say. So I'm gonna ask a question though. So I'm looking through my YouTube surfing and whatnot because YouTube is like my CNN. Like that's so crazy how that happened too. This guy Jack Harlow, what did he do? What does he do? Enlighten me. We'll say you, Giulia, and then we'll go to Kiara.
I've been hearing about him a lot, but I just started listening to him like only like a couple songs, like a
singer, rapper,
right? Kiara, he's like rapper, but like that's smooth.
Like a rap, like like I don't know. I only know that one song by him. I think I know two. The First Class one, and then the one where he's talking about Dua Lipa or something like that.
Okay, so I'll say this. To me, he is a great example of some dollars and some branding. I'm not saying he's not talented, but he's everywhere. Literally, he's everywhere. Yeah. Literally.
He's the new face of KFC. I was like, hey, how do they do that? I was like, that is perfect branding right there.
Yeah.
Even that commercial that they put together, I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing here.
He's that guy right now. I'll say that. He's all over the place, Breakfast Club, just everything. And he wasn't that interesting to me where I like YouTubed his music or just whatever, but I was just kind of like, well, man, but hey, that's what that is. So you, Giulia, top 3 musicians.
Okay, Snoop Dogg, Amy Winehouse.
All right.
And
I was
I thought you were gonna say Snoop Dogg, and Snoop.
50 Cent.
Right.
I also like newer rapper. I don't know. I feel like I just can't mention them. Like I really love Buddy and Kendrick Lamar and Ty Dolla $ign.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
All right. And you, Kiara?
For me, I mean, besides Kendrick, I would say I really love Childish Gambino.
Yeah, he's dope.
I love Amy Winehouse, of course. I love
Cherry Wine,
Maxwell, 3 Stacks, Andre 3000, Lauryn Hill. I know it's more than 3, but also Daniel Caesar too. Like His
That's the new one. That's the new one that's popping up. Even the old school cats is like, I'm feeling this. Yeah, I haven't heard any of his music, but I've heard the old school, like my peers. I've heard that name come up, and they're like, he's serious.
Yep.
So, we're gonna get to you, Giulia, but we're gonna go first with Kiara. If you could have your dream versus Dead or Alive, who would you like to see perform against? Who?
I would want to see Meg versus Doja Cat. I don't know, like something about that just seemed like it would be cool. But aside from that, I would probably say, like, who can even compete against Michael?
Oh, only one person.
Prince?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would want to see that too. Like,
okay. Nah, that's dope. That's dope. And you, Giulia, if you could have your dream versus.
I would just want to see someone, I don't know who would compare, but I would want to see Nate Dogg versus someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, Julia's LBC to the heart. You know what I'm saying? LBC to the heart. So, Kiara, if you ruled the world and there was one thing you could change, what would it be?
One thing I can change.
Price of gas. No,
I mean,
I'm just messing with you.
To just choose one thing, like I would choose, man. I don't know why, like, money is like just the way capitalism is right now. I would probably change that. I'm not saying I'm like a socialist or anything, but like, just like, yeah, I would just get rid of, honestly, I would go on a rant right now. So I would just say money.
I'm gonna share something with your young mind, your young fruitful mind. Before me, before you, before our parents, before our grandparents, there were people that traded spices. There were people that trade. There has always been trade. It's just that now it is just evolved beyond spices and gold and silver and whatever, and people are trading Frenchies and you know what I'm saying, and XL bullies and just whatever.
No, for real.
Yeah, that's just where we at. That's just where we at. You know what? Be involved in capitalism, but be the change. You know what I'm saying? Take what I try to do is, you know, when I'm working with, say for instance, I have clients and they're just like they eclipse. Like if I have a client that eclipses my other clients, somehow I try to make it where I balance the scales a little bit, where I'll make it where I can, the client that doesn't necessarily have the capital that the behemoth client has, I'll do things to kind of level the playing field, because it all comes back. You know what I'm saying? It all comes back, and people remember a good turn. I would say the one thing, I don't regret it, but it kind of stands, it kind of haunts me as my business practice is, I take almost every call. And that's just like, you know, but it's kind of like, that's the service that I give my clients. And that's where money can't, even if someone's less expensive, even if someone's whatever, I don't sell printed materials, and I don't sell t-shirts. I don't sell paper printed items. I don't sell sublimation. I sell service. And so when people deal with me, they know I'm going to make it happen. So it's like they're willing to pay to have it you know, to have me make it happen. Like it was interesting. My first client that I had that kind of opened me up to what value was Brian McKnight. And him and his manager, they were kind of like, they didn't trip off of none of the bread like that. Like the bread wasn't the problem. They just didn't want the headache. They just wanted to make it. They just wanted it. If it needed to be from Santa Fe Springs to Burbank in an hour, they didn't want to think about that. You know what I'm saying? And so one thing I would say to you guys, just as someone who's been in business for myself for a while, is that don't be so concerned with competing as far as prices are concerned, but what you want to give to your clients, you want to give them a service that they're not gonna, even if they bounce on you, you want that client to come back to you with the tail between the legs, and you guys can laugh about it, joke about it, you can continue, and then you can charge them 10-15% more than what you used to charge them for their disobedience. And no, I'm just kidding. And you can move on. But the next one, Giulia, where were you when you heard we had to be on lockdown for COVID?
Where was I? I feel like I was probably at work because I was just reading the COVID news like every day at reception. Yeah, I think I was at work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how serious did you think it was?
The end of the world.
But I'm saying at the beginning, did you think it was that serious at the beginning?
Like I was one of those that went to Big Lots.
And I was at Costco.
And I bought a lot of water and toilet paper and stuff. And my parents were out of town for a year. So I had international roommates. And the one that was from Denmark, she went with me. We were just tripping. And yeah, we thought it was all bad.
Well, I have a confession. In about another 3 weeks, I probably will run out of my COVID toilet paper.
Oh, no way.
And I'm like, I was buying the wrong stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I was worried about all the wrong stuff, man. All the wrong stuff. And so, Kiara, where were you when you heard that we had to lock down?
I feel like I want to say I was at a protest here in Long Beach, because I remember there was the protest going on, and then that same day they was like, nah, y'all on lockdown. Like
George Floyd?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like maybe the biggest protest here in Long Beach. And during it, they were like, nope, lockdown is in 10 minutes. And it was thousands of people just outside marching, protesting. And then, we didn't think they were serious up until they came with like the SWATs. And then, they were serious at that point. I was like, okay. Yeah,
all right.
It was crazy.
So now I'm gonna hit you guys with the last question. I'll go with you, Giulia, first, then we'll come to Kiara. So after all you've seen with this COVID stuff, the ins, the outs, the super masked up, the arguments between the masked people and the non-masked people, the vax people, the non-vax people, all this stuff, the Frenchies against the XL bullies and all this kind of stuff. Where do you see social progression going in the next 2 years?
That's a good question. To be optimistic, I'm hoping that there is more opportunities for Black people and people of color in the workspace, and more diverse offices and CEOs. And yeah, and because so many right now is like record breaking of Black women going into business, I'm just hoping I see more representation like that in the office and, on the news. And yeah, so that's one part that I'm hoping will be more relevant in 2 years. Or who knows? I can't tell with America, to be honest. It could be the total opposite. I have no idea. Because especially after George Floyd, everyone was like on their woke stuff and like everything was going viral and people were calling out businesses that had all white boards and all white up higher ups and like all that kind of stuff. And then now people are like pointing out things all the time, but it's just hard to tell if that's still going to be. I'm thinking it will be more representation and all that. But at the same time, like Trump became president. So I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years.
I'll say this. I hold a grudge. And it's crazy because I don't necessarily hold grudges with people so much. Like either I mess with you or I don't mess with you. But with companies, corporations, I definitely hold a grudge. Right now, I got about $160 in Starbucks cards in my room. I have not had Starbucks in years, literal years. And I see people go. I see the addiction. I see it's the sweet drink of the caffeine, the sugar, the convenience and all that kind of stuff. But when they tripped on those two brothers trying to have a little meeting, I think it was in Philadelphia. I don't know where it was, but they tripped on them. And then I felt the brothers got okie doked because it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna shut down. The Starbucks was like, we're gonna shut down all of our locations for a day, and then they went from a day to them having like a 20-minute meeting on appropriation and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, nah, I can live without that. But anyway, that was my rant against the system, you know. So Kiara, where do you see social progression going in the next 2 years?
Within the next 2 years, I think honestly the talk right now, like everybody's quitting their 9-to-5s, like nobody wants to work, like everybody's starting their own business. So I see people, starting their own stuff and really like taking the, using faith to like focus on what they really want to do in life. I feel like people, they're overworking for, the big guys up there, the corporates, the people that don't care about them. So I think that's a good change that I would want to see, because I feel like a lot of these companies have been getting over on, their employees. Everybody, the whole earth, like they don't care about nothing. So I see that as a positive. How many more years do Biden got?
I don't know, man. I don't
like
know.
Just like a couple more years. So I think, once Trump try to run again, I don't know what's gonna happen after that.
I'll say this. I'll just say this, man. Him and your homegirl got us, man. Oh, they got us.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh, they got us. We won't rant. We won't rant, but I just say, man, I drank the Kool-Aid, man.
Nah.
So that was something. Well, no, man, this has been great. I appreciate you guys for coming in and let me dig into your world and figure out because even with myself, I'm only on social media, like really and I don't do the best job of it at all. I never claim it, but to kind of promote the podcast a little bit. So I try to give social media about 3 minutes, 2 minutes a day. Like I really don't try to get, and even though it is kind of like a African drum beat that just resonates and goes throughout the universe, the continents and all that kind of stuff, where it kind of links everybody together. But I also feel that it can create a false sense of communication, where, for me, I'll text, but I like to pick up the phone. I like to deal with people. And I think that, you know, social media, and it's great for marketing, but as far as communication is concerned, it's kind of dumbed it. My personal opinion is dumbed communication down. So, but for people that don't like to communicate, it's probably the greatest, you know, the greatest thing ever. So with that being said, I will let you, Kiara, give us you guys socials.
Yeah. So you can find us on Instagram at Hunnibuzz. You can find us on Facebook. It's Hunnibuzz LB.
Yeah.
You can find us on TikTok, on LinkedIn. It's all Hunnibuzz. That is HUNNIBUZZ. You can even find us on YouTube. We still got yeah, we out here. We're trying to be on every social media platform, and you know, Hunnibuzz is where we're at.
No, that's dope. Well, I could say thank you, Giulia. I'm glad that we finally made this happen. And you know, I understand what Hunnibuzz is now. Like I really like before, I don't know. I would have said, anybody would ask me, I'd have been like, well, Giulia and her homegirl, they're doing their thing. It's a bunch of dope looking pictures going on. It looks like there's people sitting around. It looks like they have an infrastructure. And, you know, that's kind of what's going on. But I feel like you guys have kind of let me into your world. Let me ask a couple of questions. Now I understand that it's a marriage of branding and tech. And the baby that they had is Hunnibuzz. And it seems dope. And you know what? I might just hit Giulia up after this conversation and see about some consultation on something or a little something like that, man. Might, you know, I'm not one of these huge corporations, but I might support my sisters, you know what I'm saying? And see if you guys could make me a believer, you know what I'm saying? Make me a believer, help my little black business you know, flourish a little bit. But with all that said, I really appreciate you guys' time. It was great to get a peek into your mind and kind of what your humble beginnings were coming up to be what you guys are now. With that being said, this has been another episode of Splendid Radio on PharcydeTv, and I appreciate you guys. Peace.
Thank you.